When some people think of national parks, they think of places like this. These areas have large amounts of hiking trails and natural wonders that attract visitors from around the country and sometimes the world. However, this is not the only type of place that can be referred to as a national park. There are other types of areas controlled by the National Park Service, such as the National Landmarks and National Historic Sites. Maybe like St. Genevieve, as St. Genevieve, Missouri is being evaluated for their cultural significance for the possible creation of a National Historic Site. This study was introduced as a bill to Congress by Russ Carnahan in 2005.
So the Senate passed a law that there should be a feasibility study done. And that needs to answer, is this a good acquisition? Is it an acquisition? Under what terms should St. Genevieve pertain to the National Park System?
In this multi-step process, the first bill was to see that a study was done. The second bill was see that there was money to do the study. Then they're going to do the study and then they're going to vote on it. And so even if they declare us a national park, they still have to do that last step of giving money to the national park to see it develop and to see it grow.
National Park Service. They're doing a feasibility study. We should get a report this spring on if it's even feasible to think about putting a national park here in St. Genevieve. It would take in quite a bit of the historic district down on St. Mary's Road, which are one of our houses. The Bouvet Amaro house is part of it. We have a Creole house. They would take that in, and that would help us with the interpretation here in St. Genevieve.
The introduction of a National Park Historic Site to St. Genevieve would change the town's dynamic. St. Genevieve residents who are in charge of historical buildings have similar opinions on what the site would do.
It's bound to bring in tourism. The National Park System doing anything here will put us more strategically on the map than we are.
It's really the only place in the United States that would focus in on the French colonial experience in the mid-Mississippi Valley and all over the United States. There's no other site that's in the National Park System that deals with that subject matter. And I know as you went around town you heard about we have 3 of the only 5 remaining Bateau-Terre houses in the United States. We've probably got more French colonial houses here in St. Genevieve than any place else. So it's going to focus attention on St. Genevieve, and it'll bring people from all over the world to St. Genevieve.
It will point out the importance of the history that is here, that is sometimes lost. People don't realize that when they think of colonial America, they think of the 13 colonies on the East Coast, but here we are, French colonial, right here in the middle of the country.
I think overall, having an NPS site here, a national park site, would be very good for St. Genevieve. It would give us national advertising. It would improve the emphasis on preservation of some of our buildings. It would enable us to study more about the history of this area that isn't as well studied as, say, the 13 colonies in the eastern part of the United States. It'll bring a lot more people to town, which will help our businesses, our overnight accommodations, our restaurants. So it should be an economic impact overall, positive.
I've seen other places where once you put in the national park, you have more businesses come in. The more visitors you get, the more people you need to help service the visitors. And so yeah, it could increase jobs and it could increase the population.
We love St. Genevieve and want it to survive and prosper. I think anything that we can do to increase the number of people who come in. We have wonderful shops in this town. We have wonderful bed and breakfasts, and the more opportunity we have for those places to prosper, the better chance we have for the community as a whole to prosper. And I think something like the National Park System would do that.
There's a lot of people that have worked to make this to this point. There's people that will work on it in the future because I think it'll be good for the town. When you look at all the pros and cons, the pros outweigh the cons. That'd be something good for us.
Overall, St. Genevieve being made a National Park historic site would greatly benefit the town's economy, population, and give it a good base to grow in the future.